Nothing in this podcast or on our website should be construed as medical advice. Consult your healthcare provider for your individual nutritional and medical needs. The information presented is based on our research and is strictly that of the author and not necessarily those of any professional group or other individual.
Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers. Welcome to Sue's Healthy Minutes. I'm so excited you've joined me today, and I hope this episode encourages you and allows you to find the answers you have been praying for the health of you and your family. Today on Sue's Healthy Minutes, I have a special guest that I know is going to encourage us all on our path to becoming healthy and strong and fit. If you have been listening to me from the beginning, you may recall in my early episodes of Sue's Healthy Minutes, I shared 7 basic steps to healthy living. One of those steps included getting in some good sweat-producing physical activity. Way back in episode 12, titled Exercise in Search of Work, I shared how exercise is not just about looking great, but also about feeling great. Today, my guest is Andy McCann. Andy owns Crossfit Garage right here in Woodstock, Georgia. And I know the message that he has to share is going to inspire everyone listening today. So Andy, I want to welcome you to Sue's Healthy Minutes. Thank you for joining us and being patient and waiting for me while I ran late.
No, this is awesome. The fact that we're both into the same mission, but differently.
Yes.
And we're both here in Woodstock. That's like incredible.
Yep. Double blessing. So I just want to welcome you. And you mentioned that you have been a Bread Becker's customer since 2002.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's
21 years.
Yeah, very long time.
Yes. You also mentioned that real bread from freshly milled flour played a huge role in helping your kids, especially with their gut issues and their allergies. So before we get started and get into the heart of your message, I always like to ask my guests, tell me how you heard about Bread Becker's and how it changed your life with your kids and their allergies.
So I'm almost 50. I probably don't remember now how we found you because it's just been a staple for so long.
Yeah.
I think it was the journey, like you have kids and then you start thinking, what else can I do? I want this little life to live and do well. And so now, Olivia, our oldest now, but then was our only, starts to get into real food. And you're like, okay, I need to figure out what to feed them. And maybe it was a neighbor said, hey, have you ever heard of Bread Beckers? They're up the street. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. But Verdi came home with a bread machine, a grinder, some grain. And she's like, we're going to start making bread. I'm like, okay, I don't know what this means, but it was an eye-opener that when you eat bread that you've made for the first time, you're like, I don't think what they have on the shelf
is bread. It's not food. Yeah.
And then I was just talking to Brad, your husband. He said, you've got some bread that you bought that 4 years ago that still hasn't molded. That's from the store.
Yeah. And it's 100% whole grain bread.
Right.
Yeah. So imagine that.
Being in this health and fitness business now for about the last 15 years, the stories repeat. And so I'm sure you hear all these same stories, but when you're an audience of one, so it's just me at my house with my family, they seem so unique, but you're going to see these problems. So when Levi was born, our third, we not only do we want to be healthy, but we also looked into what does it mean to really be healthy? What should we be adding to our body and what shouldn't we be adding to our body? So, Olivia has some, or Verti's family has some egg allergies.
Verti is your wife.
Yes, I should say that. Yep. Yeah. So her family over in England has egg allergies. And so we read, hey, you probably shouldn't give your kid vaccines if you have egg allergies because they could be allergic. And I'm like, well, I don't know. This kid has only eaten breast food. So I asked the doctor, hey, this question. I didn't realize there was this whole controversy. I'm just a young dad.
Yeah.
So he pretty much kicked us out of the right. So he kicked us out. And so anyway, we get on this track of hey, what do we do to help our kids? So anyway, fast forward. Yeah. Levi hurts himself on a playground. I take him to the hospital because, hey, I don't know. He's got a big cut. And they're like, hey, we're going to give him a tetanus shot. And I'm like, I don't even know what that, tetanus shot? Didn't even think about it. But once he got that shot, his stomach went kind of weird. And so we sort of tracked it down to, okay, something is wrong with his gut. We're not sure. And we started really diving into bread and just it'll clear out your system.
Yes, it will.
in a crazy way.
Yes, it will.
And so we
in
were,
a nice, gentle way.
in a nice way, yes. No,
Yes.
for sure. If you have issues.
Delicious way.
Delicious. And if you have issues with your downstairs, just eat some bread and it'll fix a lot of stuff. So we started doing that with him and other things. But that, and then Evan had some allergies, and we started giving him more bread, intentional, and not just like, hey, it's Pancake Saturday, but we're going to eat all the time. And it started clearing up some of those histamine, like
responses.
Histamine responses.
The
Thank
snotty
you.
noses,
Yeah. So you know this.
Yeah.
To
the
me, it
buildup
was like
of toxins in your body produces mucus,
Right.
and
That's exactly it. And so we were down that road, and it was just fascinating to see them and see it in them, as well as in us, to see, I guess, well, as you said, the taste, and then also just the change. And that got us down the, okay, so how much organic is organic? Yeah. So we've gone down some crazy roads. So we're not just gardeners, we do other stuff, but that was our experience. And even, so what was it? Last week, Saturday, I was making French toast for everybody, still using the same stuff. I'm like, that's just funny. All my kids, everyone's home, 2 are back from college, and I'm making French toast.
Out of real bread.
Yeah, out of real bread with syrup that's real. I'm like, this is so weird, the road you can go down.
Yeah.
But if you don't, it'll catch up to you.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I tell people all the time, if you eat entertainment, eventually that entertainment is going to catch up to you. If it has a drive-through window, it's probably entertainment.
Yes.
So watch out.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So was bread kind of your first stop on this healthy eating journey? Because the vaccines, and then someone told you about us, and then you started down the path of, wait a minute, what is organic, what is real, and if this does this, what about the next step?
That's right.
Yeah.
And so it is, and I probably would say that drinking better water was probably the very first one. And so we ended up getting, I think maybe you sold them at a time. It was a filter out here. Maybe it was a Berkey filter or something or I heard about them from you, from you guys. But we started in some clean water, so not tap water, and we didn't want to buy bottled water. So I was like, and so we started there, then ended up with this. And the road gets long, but I think if you're not investing in your health, if you don't pay for good nutrition now, you're going to pay for the bad health that you reap later.
Yeah.
So at 50, I don't take any medication.
That's amazing.
Besides, I guess, food.
Yeah.
And, I have this CrossFit gym, and I've been doing this for 15 years.
Yeah.
And you just basically need to invest in your body soon. Otherwise, later is tough. It's not undoable.
Yeah.
But it gets tougher.
Yes.
And it's just, it's hard to build those habits. But like, I guess any investment person would tell you, if you just rely on compound interest or do a little bit every day, later on, that compound interest will really pay off. So if you eat better now, it'll pay off later on.
Exactly.
And so
I did an episode called The Ripple Effect.
Ooh, and, I'm going to have to go listen to that one.
I mean, like you throw a stone in the water and it ripples out.
Yes.
And so I just really encourage people. Sometimes it's one step, and that ripples out to, wow, I feel better with this. So maybe if I do another thing and another thing and another thing, and it ripples over into other parts of your life. So I do want to remind our guests, I forgot to mention this in the beginning, we are live at Becker's. And so we do have store noise, and I hear a mill going. They're grinding flour from somebody. Yeah.
That's
it means
life,
we're
and this
live.
is business. Yeah.
Yes. And there's customers in the store that we're making
Which is
happy.
always great. You need the customer.
Yes. We love our customers. So we love for y'all to come in. We love to help you. So, all right. So I came up with 7 steps of healthy living. They're not all inclusive, but bread was my first step of the journey because grains are the most nutrient dense food God's given us. Drink water. You got to go there. People, we're a dehydrated world, I do believe. Eat more fruits and vegetables. Get rid of the junk. Yeah. At some point, you got to go, okay, maybe this Twinkie isn't the best thing for me, and it's stealing from me, They
don't even make Twinkies anymore.
I
heard they got rid of them, and then somebody brought them. I know. Then they came back, and then they're gone. So
well, the cases from 100 years ago
they're
are still
here.
They're still fine. So anyway, but so those are just some basic steps. But then one is exercise.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're a sedentary society now. We're not agricultural like 100 years ago. So we have to go in search of work. That's what I call it, in search of exercise. Because people go, why do I need to do this, that, or the other? And I'm like, because we are sitting at a desk all day, or, even I'm an active person, but I'm not farming and gardening. I'm not out physically, doing things all day, every day. So I'm just so happy you're here. I love your philosophy on exercise. I've listened to a couple of your podcasts. So tell me why we should exercise.
Yeah. So it's really feebleness is chasing us down.
Yep.
If we don't do something, feebleness, it gets us in the end.
Going to lose your muscles and your strength. And
that's exactly it. And you're going to die of something. Don't die from diabetes. It's easy to, some of it, not genetic one, but it's easy to change the way you eat. And don't die because I fell and I cannot get up. You can fix that.
Yes.
You just have to do something every day. So I typically tell people that, hey, am I in trouble if, and they tell me what they do. I'm like, basically, here's the advice. If the hardest thing you do all day are the things you do all day, then you're probably in trouble. So it doesn't take much. So if somebody doesn't want to go into the gym, which is totally fine, do the mailbox challenge. So you can literally just say, I'm going to walk to 3 mailboxes down. And of course, I guess if you're in a neighborhood, that's a lot closer than if you...
It may only be a 10th of a mile or something like that.
Yeah. So, just so you can even do that. Say, I'm just going to go for 3 mailboxes today. Tomorrow, I'll do 4. And you keep building it up until that was aggressive and I'm tired. Okay, perfect. Stay there for a little bit. It doesn't have to be, I went up Stone Mountain every day. It doesn't have to be aggressive. Now, that'll be a good starting point. Something's better than nothing. Now, like you had said, I don't garden or I'm not a farmer, so I'm not doing those sort of things.
Right.
The reason we latched on to CrossFit, it's kind of like, it's like with bread. What's a good, fast hack or solution to eating better? Well, make your own bread. That'll clean you out and do a lot of different things.
If you didn't do anything else,
that's a good one to do.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And so we do CrossFit because it's it shortcuts a lot of the process, and it gets you from, so in the 80s, the only thing that ladies would do would go to the gym and get on the treadmill. The only thing the guys would do is on Monday, they do back and by. Tuesday, they do chest and try. And on Wednesday, they do leg day or they skip it, right? And so there was never this cross fitness, which is basically what CrossFit's about is we do constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity. So what's a constantly varied movement? Like, well, we're going to go out and farm. So you're going to have a hoe, pitchfork, whatever, and you're going to do your thing. I don't farm either, so I'm going to blow it. I have a riding lawnmower for my grass. It's a really big field. But so you go out there and you do those things. You're going to lift a boulder. You're going to remove a tree. You're going to cut down some limbs. You're going to chase a chicken. You're going to shoot a coyote. I don't know, right?
It's not one continuous exercise.
It's constantly varied functional movements. So what do? We stand up, we sit down. That's what we do at the gym. We teach people to stand up and sit down. I didn't know this because I'm not at the right age yet, but when you go to an old folks home, the toilets are actually higher up because people can't squat down.
Oh, yes.
And you're like, wait a minute.
Yes.
We can't squat? What happened? And it's because we don't do those things.
Yeah.
So we sit in a chair with relaxed musculature, not muscles, your muscles, relaxed muscles, not skeleton, but you relax sitting there, and so you're going to tighten up in different ways. And if we just simply did things, that constantly very functional movements, executed at high intensity. So we do throw in there high intensity. Intensity is relative. So you take a beginner, and let's say we have, yesterday we did a workout. It was 8 minutes long. And that's one of the beautiful things is you don't have to work out a lot, but it's 8 minutes. So in those 8 minutes, let's say I did 3 rounds, but you've been doing CrossFit for a long time and you did 6 rounds. That's okay.
Yeah.
If I had a tired-o-meter, which doesn't exist, but if I had one, if I put it up on you, it would read 8. And if I put it on me, it would read 8. So we did what we could. Intensity is relative, right? So it doesn't take much, but you need to do something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I listened to one of your podcasts, and I love that you might say this better than I'm going to.
No, say it. I love to hear
Well,
hopefully I said something
what
good.
I got from it is that exercise doesn't have to be difficult, long, all of that. But what you said was do something more than your regular routine.
That's exactly it.
Because what you do every day, unless you're really out there
Yes.
lifting trees and chasing chickens and all of that.
I've had a construction worker come in, and he's like, I'm interested in CrossFit. And I'm like, what do you do all day? And he told me, I'm like, listen, what you need to do is drink a lot of water and be super mobile. You don't need to do more. You're already
Yes.
He's like, oh.
But for most of us,
right.
yes.
So which is a funny thing. We still we will tell people this isn't for you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess in your business, bread is for everybody.
Yes.
Unless you're medically I don't know, right? I can't imagine who couldn't do that, right?
Yeah.
So yes, CrossFit possibly isn't for everybody, but exercise is.
Exercise is.
And if you're, I don't know, let's say your job all day is to walk up and down steps. Okay, great.
Yes.
Maybe every once in a while, do it aggressively. And that will help.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be a lot. And that's another fun thing for CrossFit. I was a traveling sales guy. I was talking to Brad about his route for the co-op.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you're bringing me back to the days of when I basically sold stuff to Bell South. And I got into adventure racing, which I still do today. So it's like a redneck triathlon. And so you have a team of 3 and a map and a compass, and they're like, run, bike, and canoe to different checkpoints in the wood. So while I was on the road, I would go out and jog. And then I'd come home, and then I'd go out and bike for like 2 or 3 hours. And my wife's like, seriously, you have been gone all week, and you're going to go out on the bike? I'm like, I think she's trying to tell me something, but I'm too young and stupid to really understand. So this is how somebody introduced me to CrossFit. They're like, you can just train for like 8 minutes.
And wow.
It's going to work. I'm like, I don't know. So now 15 years into it, I race with a guy who trains just the normal run and bike. Shout out to Eddie Lind. And I just do CrossFit. And so we'll do these 12 and 24 hour races. And he's still to this day, after 20 years, he's like, I can't believe
that you can do 8 minutes a day and
yes,
you can do this.
So he's like, I'm logging like 20 miles a week, and I log 1 mile a week on feet or 0 on bike, right? Which I do pay for that. Biking without practice does hurt you in your seat area. So there's some pain there.
Yes, there's some.
But it doesn't have to be a lot. So CrossFit allows you to shorten the cycle.
Yeah.
And get to health quicker. Yeah. You don't even, a funny thing I hear people say a lot is, don't I need to be healthy and fit before I do CrossFit? And that's kind of like telling people, shouldn't I change my entire diet before I try to start eating bread? No, just
start.
Make your bread and just start, right?
Yeah.
So come to CrossFit, we will get you there. And it doesn't even have to be our gym. There's a lot of CrossFit gyms around us. Just Google, I think probably the best thing you can do, it's like what you guys do. If you sold the bread here and made people come get it, it would be hard to do. But you sell them the tools to do it. I actually was walking your store. I think I've got at least one of everything you have.
Well, we like that.
Yeah, it is super tasty. Yeah. So if you can do it at home, buy grain, grind it up, and make your own bread, you'll do it.
Yes, exactly.
If you can do CrossFit, make it easy. It's just like some days it literally is only 8 minutes or 12 minutes, but it's the intensity that does it. It doesn't need to be aggressive or hard. It just needs to be, hey, I show up, I build a habit, and this is what I get into.
Yes, ripple effect.
Yes, I'm going to have to go back and listen to that one. I wrote it right here, ripple effect. I will go listen to that one.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Sure.
So I exercise at home. It may be my trampoline. It may be aggressive walk.
Sure.
I do some sitting down and up in a chair because I'm getting older, and I'm like, nope, I'm going to be able to get up off this floor the rest of my life. So I do some, and I do some little strength things. But some days I just feel so tired, and I'm like, I just don't think I can do this today. And is it best to rest and just not and give in to that tiredness, or is it best to press through a little bit? That's
a great question. So every really good question starts with, it depends, or the answer of it is, it depends. So,
and I can say that because one day I was really exhausted. I taught class, had lots of things on me, and I went, nope, I'm just going to go out for a walk. And I got up the hill, and I almost started crying. I'm like, nope, I am going back home. And I went back home, and I got in bed, and I took a 2-hour nap.
There you go.
So I do agree, but that was an exception, I think.
Yeah.
So what is your recommendation there?
It is a good question. Should rest be intentional? And the answer is yes. So if you don't have any rest at all, then I would probably say, let me back this up. Sometimes people come to us and they're like, I want to lose. Actually, most of the time people come to us and say they want to lose weight. Yeah. That's almost always the answer, or the question is, how do I lose weight? sometimes they are so calorie restricted already. Their body is in death mode or, famine. Their body's in famine mode, right?
Yeah.
And their body holds on to everything. They're like, I can't lose weight. I'm only eating like 1,000 calories. And the answer is, okay, first let's eat more to tell your body so let's rest the diet. You don't have to do it. Let's back up and make it easier. So sometimes in fitness, yes, let's rest. Now, it depends. Why did you say I'm not into it, right? So if you have a plan, which I hopefully you have a plan, and you're like, okay, I'm going to walk 3 days, take 1 day off, and then walk 2 days, take 1 day off, and there's my 7-day week. And it's day 3, and you're like, I just don't feel like it, go walk. Okay. You need to fight yourself and flex willpower, right? So willpower it's not just, it's a muscle that you can build. So if you tell yourself, I'm just going to give in, then you're not flexing your willpower. So you need to flex it and say, you know what? It's my schedule. I'm going to do it.
That's my plan.
Yes.
I'm going to stick with it.
Yeah. So you build habits and you build routines.
Yeah.
And if you can stick to that habit and routine, it becomes a whole lot easier. And we get into a lot of things like habit stacking or keystone habit. So people would say, why do you to the answer of why do you brush your teeth? Most people would say, because it's what I do. And then you'd say, like, what's the habit that makes you brush your teeth? They're like, well, I just brush my teeth as a habit. Going to bed is the keystone habit. If you were to have an all-night raging party, you probably wouldn't brush your teeth, right? So it's not nighttime. It's the keystone habit of going to bed. I'm getting ready. I will brush my teeth. Sometimes people habit stack and they put floss in there. Sometimes not, right? So you can habit stack and you can find this keystone habit. So if you've got a calendar that you've built out and you know that, like for me, I take out my clothes and put them on the floor so I don't wake up my wife, because that's the 6th love language is sleep. So don't wake up your wife. And I'll put them on the side. But I know when I get out of bed, my workout clothes are right there. My keystone habit is I'm going to bed. I'm going to put my clothes out. I'm going to put them on sort of in the dark. Sometimes they go on backwards and then I'll fix it later. And then I do my little morning routine, which includes then driving to the gym to work out.
Yeah.
So if the answer then is, it depends. If it's let's say your workout mentality was Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday I'm working out, but Thursday I'm resting. And so Thursday you're like, I do want to take my rest. Definitely take it. Yeah. Or if you're like, you know what, I feel like working out and taking my rest on Friday. Hey, that's okay. Plans can change.
Yeah.
But what's your goal? Was your goal 5 times a week?
Well, then keep that goal.
Then keep the goal.
Yeah.
So right, it depends on what your goals are. Now the other side is like, what if I hurt myself? So you said I crawled back in for 2 hours more sleep. So there was probably something
going on.
Yeah, that happened. Or maybe your body is saying, hey, you're getting sick or something. And you can even change your goals. Like I love doing this in the, typically when people travel, they're like, I'm not going to work out. And I am that guy. If I'm traveling, I'm out. If I'm on vacation, I'm on vacation. But if you go to the hotel gym, usually they have dumbbells. And you can this is what I'll do. I'll just grab the lightest set and I'll do 10 thrusters. And then I'll grab the next set and do 10 more. Then I just keep going up until I can't do them, or I'm like, it's been 30 minutes and I'm like, okay, I'm out. So I have the 30 minutes in the hotel gym and it's something.
Yeah.
And then I'm done. So it doesn't have to be super aggressive. You can even just say, I'm going to do 10 burpees. Sure. It's something. If you're having that day, you're like, I just don't have time for it.
Yeah.
The kids, the life, the whatever happened. Yeah. 10 burpees is something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So I have another question for you.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Bring it. Yeah.
Okay. So I know that you have a gym.
Yes.
And we want to give people that information before we close.
And I thank you for that.
Yes. But I know that there are circumstances where people can't do that. They can't go to a gym.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, or they choose not to.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of things. What are some good exercises? What is the focus if you're exercising at home? Is it jogging a long time or da-da-da? And then the other question I have for you is...
So home focus and,
home focus, do it yourself, home focus, whatever. And then does it need to be, when you do exercise, does it need to be all at one time? Or can you do things throughout the day? Like I do my sit downs in my chair, squats or whatever you want to call them. So I do that and then I go about my business. And then someone calls me on the phone. So I do my push-ups on the door or something while I'm talking to them. So I kind of spread it out. Yeah. Is it better though to have the 8-10 minutes intensity all at once, working different things? Or does it matter. I don't sweat as much, that's for sure, because I've only done this.
Right.
So I get that. So
again, it depends.
I gave you a multi-layered question.
No, that's totally fine. That's good. I love this. So it's a great question, and the answer starts with, it depends, right? So it depends what you're trying to get out of it. I would say doing something is better than nothing.
Yes.
So something. Pick something. And I tell, I have a buddy, bunch of us old Georgia Tech guys get together still. And hold
on, let me put my my national championship Georgia Bulldog mug here.
Not just once.
Yeah, twice, back to back.
So I did go to Georgia Tech. I have a son at UGA right now, and a daughter.
Right. We'll keep going there.
Yeah, and a daughter at Auburn. I actually tell people, don't go to Georgia Tech. It's really, really hard. Now, I did meet my wife there, so I would still go back if I had to. But it's a really hard school. And you mentioned you were in a sorority. What sorority were you in?
AOPI.
AOPI, okay. So now you mentioned on your website, it's so
my partner's wife.
Yes.
My partner went to Georgia Tech.
He was a civil engineer,
Yes, I met his wife at Georgia. We were such good friends.
Yeah.
And
so I love the Greek system.
That's how we connected. Yeah.
I totally tell my nerd kids to get involved in the Greek system. So it depends what you're trying to do. And my two buddies from Georgia Tech, let me segue. I told you I'm very tangential.
Yeah.
So I wrote this down, so I'll come back to your questions, but it has a point. So one of them, he said, unfortunately, my mom broke her hip and she can't really live on her own anymore. We got to bring her to an assisted living, just somebody to be around. And then it comes up that she's like, I need help just getting to the restroom. Can you help me? And he's like, Andy, I don't want my kids to ever have to have that with me. What do I do? And so we've been talking CrossFit for 15 years.
Yeah.
And 5 years ago, he tried it and he called me up and he's like, hey, I just pulled over and threw up in the parking lot. I hate you. And so that was 10 years ago. And I was like, did you go easy? He said, of course not. I'm a champion. I'm a hero. I'm like, okay, well, I told you go easy, right? And 10 years ago, CrossFit was a little bit different. We're a lot smarter now. But so he reaches back out and I said, look, let's get on the website or Google Maps, figure out where you live, figure out what gyms are around. Let me look at the gyms and I'll aim you at one that I would go to that's close, because close is great. So now he's going and doing CrossFit. Okay, so he's into CrossFit. He's into what I'm doing. You show up, they're going to tell you everything. On the flip side, another buddy of mine says, hey, I'm a little nervous about my health and fitness. I don't really want to go to a gym. What do I do? I'm like, look, let's just start with something. Can you do, set an alarm for 60 seconds and do as many burpees as you can in 60 seconds?
Okay, tell us what a burpee is.
Oh, yeah, good point. So a burpee basically is...
people are thinking, I'm burping a baby.
A baby, it's totally different. I wish it was that easy. So from a standing position, you're basically going to lay on the ground. Then you're going to stand back up and give a little teeny jump and clap above your heads. Okay. So basically you're making your body go all the way down and then standing back up. So I'm getting up off the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm jumping at least a little bit and I'm moving my arms, right?
Up above your head.
Right. So you got a lot of movement in a burpee. It's a beautiful movement. Horrible to do, but it's beautiful. Yeah. And he's like, well, what if
they don't know what it is, they can Google it.
They totally can,
There's videos
Plenty
of
people,
burpees, yes.
So he said, well, what if I can only do one? I'm like, that's great. How many do you do right now? 0. So one is infinitely more than 0.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can start there. Okay, so that being said, there's two sides of it. Do something. Anything is better than nothing. I would say when you go to something like a CrossFit gym, you're paying the coach to walk you through this program. It's like this. When people walk in here into your store,
walk me through, tell me what I need.
Yes.
Show me the mill, show me the grain.
Right. And the way you're paying for the mentoring of this store is I'm buying stuff. And then that perpetuates, without profit, there is no passion. You have to have profit to your passion or you go out of business, right? So you're paying for the coaching, or the customers are paying for their coaching by buying things, and your staff is coaching them like, well, this is what I would do first. Yes, it can be overwhelming, but just buy the bread maker first, right? Let's just start there. Like, okay, I think I can do that. And we went through that struggle too. Which one should we get? Whatever. And I love that. They're just take one. It'll be fine, right? Okay, thank you. So the same thing, you go to a CrossFit gym, you're paying them for that coaching, mentoring, and accountability. So if you don't want that, don't go there. You don't have to have that on your own. So backing up to your questions, first is home focus. Can you do this at home? The answer is yes. A really easy way to do this at home is here's a really easy way. If you go to our website, crossfitgarage.com, we've got get on our email list or come to talk to us in a no sweat intro. And the very first email and text you get from us is automated because it's the year 2023 and automation is great. Otherwise, we would wait weeks to get
Yeah.
to you. And so anyway, the first thing goes out and says, hey, we've got you. Here's some stuff that you probably want to know. And in there, one of them is 32 at-home workouts. So we give people, hey, if you don't need us, don't come in. So you can email or get on our email list, then hit unsubscribe, and you'll have the very first email has a link to a Google Doc that I wrote up that's 32 workouts you can do at home. So more than one a month, right? Just barely.
Wow. Okay.
And then you can just do all this at home. So you don't.
So our customers could get to that?
Oh,
People
yeah, for
listening
sure.
today
Yeah, so they can go on there, and then
ask for that.
and ask for
32
that.
workout.
And if you don't ever want to hear from us again, just hit unsubscribe and stop
And
or
you're
whatever,
done.
and you're out.
Take
And
the
you got the
workouts and
workouts, right?
do 'em.
And do them. And just do that. And so you can do that. So can you do this at home? The answer is yes. I actually, weirdly, I own the gym and I have all extra gear in my house. So I could literally do everything at my house. I just don't work out by myself.
Yeah.
So I found even on a sad day, I'm like, oh, I just don't feel like going. I still get in the car and I go.
Yep.
I get to my people. I'm like, this is great. So our motto is we are happy, humble, helpful people who want to be healthy and fit now, as well as in our 90s. So when you say that for long enough, you attract and get people who feel the same way. And so when you walk in, it's like everybody has glasses half full. I love this place. So it's just great. So anyway, you end up going in and I'm like, I didn't feel it. But now Aaron's like, are you going to really do that weight? Come on, buddy. You're like, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And so you end up working out a little harder than you maybe thought you would because you've got friends and people around you.
Because you left what was distracting you
That's
to
it.
go here. So that is a plus for
Yeah.
sure.
And
Yeah.
as a Georgia Tech grad, I know I'm an introvert, but I know.
No.
Well, I spent years in sales, so they taught me to fake it. Yeah. So you fake it till you make it. So, but weirdly, I don't like working out by myself.
Yeah.
I like working out with my buddies and, guys or girls. So at a normal gym, at a big box gym like Lifetime or whatever, which, if you're going to go there, great, do something. But if you and I were in there and I was like walked up and said, hey, Sue, what are you doing? And you'd be like, do not talk to me. This is very weird. At our gym, it's like high fives and, jokes and laughs. I mean, it's a community of people. Just like here, you have groups that meet, like in this space we're in right now with the kitchen up front. This is awesome. And you bring people of like-minded people on a journey of health and nutrition and fitness or whatever.
Yeah.
We want to have a better life. That's who you have at a gym if you're in the right one. So not all gyms are created equal and not everybody's focus is the same. The bigger ones, they would rather sell you a membership and not have you come in because you cost them money. They want 10,000 members and only like 100 people showing up.
Yeah.
We have 100 members and we want 100 people showing up, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So can you do this at home? The answer is yes. And I would encourage people, do something at home. Yeah. So like you're doing stuff right now.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. You don't need somebody. You can motivate yourself.
Yeah.
There are people, there are like this big smile. You can't see that, but she smiled like maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Some days.
Not everyone can do that.
Yeah.
And I own the place and I can't make myself work out at home. I have leftover gear in my basement, in my garage, and I just won't do it. I'll just be like, I'll just walk the dogs. So I always go in.
Yeah.
So if you need coaching, mentoring, and accountability, yes, go find a place. Now your other one was, should you spread it out or do it together? It depends. So CrossFit has found through experimental, like doing this year after year, day after day, and all this stuff, that the independent variable that leads best towards longevity is intensity.
Okay.
So if you can throw down some intensity, which again can be relative. So like if my dad and I were going to do, let's say we were going to do a 5K, or they said, go as far as you can in 20 minutes. I don't know, right? I am definitely going to go further than my dad. But again, if we put the tyrdometer on us, if we're both at 8, that's beautiful. So intensity is that independent variable that leads to the best adaptation towards health and fitness. So if that's true, what we're trying to do then is, just like with the bread, we want to give ourselves a hedge against sickness. So if you imagine a half a circle or like a rainbow, on one side is sickness. In the middle is well, and on the far right is fitness, okay? So if my biometric, like my blood pressure and my heartbeat, let's go with heartbeat. So at 70 beats per minute, most people say, yeah, you're well, right? If you get sick, it's gonna go up and that's gonna push you towards sickness. Mm-hmm. So at 120, yeah, you're probably sick. There's probably something wrong with you. Now, if you're healthy and fit, you've pushed into fitness and maybe your heart rate is, I don't know, let's go extreme. Let's say it's 55 beats per minute. Everyone's gonna say, hey, you're pretty good. Fit. Yeah. And when you get sick, it's going to move to 70. So you've just moved to well. So everybody else is like norm.
Well to look.
Yes. And so we use this as a hedge against sickness, and intensity pushes you towards that.
That
So,
makes sense.
yeah. So what I would say is you can have smaller, intense opportunities. So you could say, I'm going to do push-ups because I'm on a conference call and I'm just listening. I'm going to see how many I can do in, 30 seconds. And then do that like 4 times. Like do 30 seconds of work, take 30 seconds off, do 30 seconds of work, right?
Yeah.
And so you're creating intense moments. Now it's not maybe 2, 10, 12 minutes or even 20, but it's not like, if doing 10 push-ups is easy, then it's not giving you the same effect. So I'd kind of maybe rein it in like this. If you did a 5K every day, eventually, let's say
that's nothing.
Yeah, and let's say you did. I just want to run a 5K. I don't know, in 25 minutes, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But you would do it all the time. Eventually, if you still did the 5K on the same route at the same time, the returns you're getting are diminishing. So it would be better to push yourself a little bit or extend the distance a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we go to. So I would say if you had to pick, do something. The next level would be create opportunities for intensity because they've seen that it's got the best adaptation towards longevity and better health than anything. And then the next one would be add range of motion. So if you're doing like squats at home, make sure your hips go below your knees. So we call that parallel. So we're going to drop our hip crease below the top of our knees. And there is a beautiful adaptation that comes from that. That also, I mean, it's a functional movement executed with high intensity. So that movement you want for the rest of your life. I would love to be able to get up off the chair.
Yeah.
So we do that. So anyway, sorry, long answer, but yes.
That's okay.
It depends.
When people ask me, can I ask you a quick question? I'm like, your question might be quick, but my answer is not going to be. So I get it.
Especially when they come up with like,
it depends.
Yeah. And they're going to tell you, well, my home life is this. And you're like, okay, well now you've just changed the whole thing. You should have said that at the beginning, but they don't know that. Now, the beautiful thing is you see these questions and concerns all the time here at your business.
Yeah.
And so this is why I tell people all the time, hire a mentor. Like you can hire bed breakers to teach you by just coming to a class.
Exactly.
And when you do that, you shortcut the process. So you're giving them like, how do I crack my eggs? You're like, just crack them and put them in there, right? I can experimentally do that at home over and over. Like, how hot does the water have to be when I put it in there? Just warm water. It doesn't have to be boiled, right? But if you're doing that up front on stage and I'm doing it here with you, I'm going to learn that. I'm going to have that response. And you've just shortcutted my process from, I don't know, in this case, making bread correctly, like the number of breads that we had that fell. I'm like, why does it keep falling? We just have like mushy bread, which is fine when you make French toast. But when you're trying to make a sandwich, it's not so cool. But come to your classes to shortcut it. Hire a coach or a mentor for your fitness to shortcut the process, right?
Yes.
Like you said, people should drink more water. It was one of your things, drink more water.
Yeah.
Yes, that is exactly right. When people say, hey, what's the first thing I should do on my nutrition? How much water do you drink?
Yes.
They're like, gulp, not much.
Yeah.
Pun intended, right? And so the questions we get, we see them all the time. And so we can shortcut the answer. I mean, yeah, you can go Google it and look it up. That's totally fine. You don't need a coach, a mentor, or anyone to keep you accountable. If it's all online, mentors, your store, your classes, shortcut the entire process.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just have to be willing to spend for it. So weirdly, it's so funny. People so our gym right now is $175 a month. People will in a drop spend that on their kid. They'll go like, I'm going to do karate for my kid. It's $200 a month. They go twice. That's it. You're like, okay, come to the gym. They're like, no. I said, you can come 5 times, 7 times a week if you want. You can come 8 times a day if you don't do that, but you could. They're like, no, I can't spend money on myself, but they'll spend it on their kid. But if you don't, like I just did a podcast interview with Meredith, and she's like, if you don't take time to help yourself, then your kids are going to regret your decision.
They're going to have to help you.
That's right.
Yeah.
So invest in yourself with healthy
I loved
food.
your, okay, give me your slogan again. Happy.
Oh, yeah. So, it took us forever to come up with these words.
Slow it down a little bit.
Sorry.
For us Southerners.
Oh, that's right. I rattled it off. So it's, we are happy, humble, helpful people who want to be healthy and fit now, as well as in our 90s.
Amen.
And when you know who you are, like in your statement, we want to help coach people to better health through real food. When you know that stuff, when someone comes up and they're like, hey, would you sell my chemical-based, whatever. You're like, no, it's not my mission. No,
Yeah.
right? When people come to us and they're like, I would like to go to the CrossFit Games, I'm like, that's not us. We're like David desk jockeys. We're just normal people who want to be healthy and fit now is in their 90s. Or somebody will come in and say, hey, we've got this supplement, wink, wink. It'll make you really strong, wink, wink. So maybe it's got laden with things. I'm like, okay, is there a payoff now? For sure. But what about when we're 90? You're like, yeah, that's going to bite you in the butt. So we're like, no, we don't do that stuff. We want to be healthy and fit later on as well. So so when you put those guardrails up, it really helps just refine the message and who you help.
Yeah.
Because you can't help everybody.
And it's in a real way.
Yes.
Not in a quick fix way.
No.
Yeah, that's what I just did my podcast on supplements, because I get asked that a lot. And there's a place for it.
Yeah.
But you don't want a pill to
No.
fix it, just like you don't want a pill to make you strong.
Well, I'm curious. So I did one on supplements as well. So the title of it was, what's the best supplement you could eat? And spoiler, that's it. I said, the spoiler is real food.
Real food.
Just eat real food. And so we went down the rabbit trail of like, what is real food and how do you get to it? But it's
real food.
most people I find, and this can be okay if it's your intent, but they major in the minors. And you're like, well, I would like to take a pill to fix my whatever. Or I don't get enough iron, protein, vitamin D or whatever. Can I just take a pill? You're like, well, yes, but if you actually just went out in the sunlight, it would be much better for you.
Yeah.
Yes, if you just ate nutrient-dense food. So nutrient-dense food moves the needle a lot. Moves you from sick to well into the healthy and fit a lot. Pills and supplements, they have a place, but they only move the needle like 1%.
Yes.
So it's refinements. It's not the whole needle. It's just teeny bits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go listen to that podcast because I didn't know you did that as well. I went back in time and listened to a couple other ones, but that's good. That's funny. So we are on the same mission.
It's not been published yet.
Okay.
So yeah. So anyway, wow, we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
So is there any final words? I always like to give my guests an opportunity.
Yes.
Last final message you want to share with people.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. Many people say, I'm just nervous about doing anything. I haven't done things in a while. I am 40, I am 50, and I took 20 to 30 years off. What do I do? Don't be intimidated. Don't be fearful. Come to our gym, right? I know we're not for everybody. Email me and I will help you find something. If you're in Woodstock, yes, it's easy, but don't be afraid. Take the first step, especially in a group like a CrossFit gym. The coaches want to help you. The other members, they were where you are and they want to help you. So just put that first, put your right foot in. Put your right foot out. Just take a step.
Sounds like a great family.
Yeah. So if you need help from us, hit us at CrossFitGarage.com.
Okay.
Yep.
CrossFitGarage.com.
Yeah. Sorry, I speak really fast.
No, I know. Where are you from?
It's the salesman in me, I guess. I don't know. I just talk too quick. Yeah. So I grew up North Carolina to California to Pennsylvania to Florida, and then we finally by 8th grade we're in Georgia.
Okay.
So all over the place. But so you can find us there,
CrossFitGarage.com. Mm-hmm. You also have a podcast.
I do. Weirdly, it's titled CrossFit Garage because I haven't come up with a title yet.
No,
So
I love it.
So the enemy, perfect is the enemy of done. People were like, you should do this into a podcast. You're always talking to people. I'm like, I'll just start. And we've only now just figured out like our tagline, and it's been 6 or 7 months. The title is still just CrossFit Garage because I can't come up with anything.
I think it's great. I think it's great.
But just like your fitness.
Yeah.
Just do something. Start walking.
So, So CrossFitGarage.com, and they can go on your website, get those 32 workouts
That's right.
or whatever.
They just get on the mail list or do the No Sweat Intro or whatever.
Yeah.
Or email me, weirdly, the email's really tough. I'll say it slow this time. Andy@CrossFitGarage.com.
That's kind of like Sue at breadbeckers.com.
Right.
Yeah.
You know my name, you know my business.
Yeah. Andy@CrossFitGarage.com.
Yeah. And if you're into phone calling or texting, it's actually my cell phone on our website.
Okay.
My kid said, don't do that. I'm like, whatever. It's a small business. It's not like that many people call me.
Well, I just thank you so much for sharing your area of expertise with helping us all get healthy and strong and fit.
Yeah.
Now and in our 90s. That's my goal. Actually, I want to go 120. I want to go 120 and God just takes me up the mountain like he did Moses, and I want to be able to climb that mountain. Yeah.
And we will help you there.
Yeah. So I just want to say as we close that I hope everyone listening has been inspired to get up and do some fun, sweaty activity today. push yourself just a little, strengthen those muscles. And as always, thank you all for listening today. Thank you, Andy, for sharing. Until next time, this is Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minutes.
Sue's Healthy Minutes podcast has been a presentation by the Bread Beckers Incorporated located in Woodstock, Georgia. For more information, store hours, and learning opportunities, visit breadbeckers.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. Share this with 2 friends who would benefit from this information, and be sure to join us again next week for more of Sue's Healthy Minutes.